But
Full
forget.
Metal Jacket.
No. Oh, I mean, he was in that,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that's
he
not
was.
the role
Oh no, I'm
I
just
was.
naming off like really good movies that Vincent D'Onofrio was in.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
Yeah, he was amazing. And this
I
is
mean, he's still
just
around. We say was like he died or something.
yeah he no he ascended. He's gone. He was
Man,
like
rest in
I've
peace.
done everything I can in this world, and then he left.
He's
And,
like, I think he left. Yeah, I figured out why every celebrity died last year.
and by the way, we are live now, so
Oh,
this is a great way to start the show. Hey, Catawolf.
now I'm scared to finish that statement. It's a statement I do not want on the internet. Oh well, isn't that the best?
Tell the people.
Hey, Cannibal.
He just said,
Ah!
"Finish it, you wuss."
I finished what? What are you talking about? I don't even remember. There was a joke.
You were
Well,
about to say something, and now you said you didn't want to say it on the air, and he's demanding you say it.
okay, so fucking all the celebrities killed themselves
Oh my
before 2017, and then they
god!
pretended, and then they pretended because they just wanted to avoid this shit. Like, fucking, this has been a rough year. Fucking PewDiePie said offensive words. You
Oh
know,
my god!
uh, there's some other stuff that happened. I don't know if people are familiar with. There's like a game show host that got in the government or something. I don't know too much about that. You know, that's there. I wasn't going to put that on the internet, but now you have it.
Now it's
So
there.
like that all.
Now it's
Yeah.
there. Well, you made the audience happy, Eric.
Did I?
Yeah, you made them happy. They're
I feel
happy.
like we're gonna lose. We're gonna lose at least one subscribe. Well, probably not, but
Dude, it,
in part.
if people have been coming to Reset Press for the past few years and they think that they're going to get a conservative smorgasbord, what have they been watching?
Yeah, I suppose. I
Yeah,
don't
that
know.
that hasn't been happening. Now, if you're here to listen to people say the Wii U was a good system, yeah, you've
Now
come to the
that's
right
just
place.
subjectively wrong.
No,
I made fun of it last week. I'll make fun of it this week if you want me to double down.
no, now I'm sad.
Well, you should be because it's a bad console, but you
Oh,
got a good sequel out of it.
yay! At
You,
least we get that.
your Uncharted one may have been a trash heap, but Uncharted 2 is a classic. So,
There you go. By the way, Kettle said that you get a 10 out of 10. He's very happy.
yay!
Yeah,
I put that on the fridge.
there we go.
Show my
So,
mom and be like,
so like everything we
"Look
said
what I
before this is probably not going in the edited version. So if you're here live catching it, yay for you.
those poor people. They're missing."
They're missing out.
Hey,
So this is the reset button for September 13th, 2017.
it's my birthday.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, it's
Oh,
Eric's birthday. Beforehand it was mine. Now you have to put up with Eric
oh
talk,
no!
talking about his birthday and how you don't have a birthday and you don't deserve any
Don't worry.
cake.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I'm not getting any cake, and we're
Oh,
not going to celebrate it.
oh,
So it's pretty much like that.
man, at least I got a cake.
Yeah. Well,
I'll bake you a cake.
it's not the same. You got to put love in it.
How about cyanide?
That's just as good.
Perfect. I can do
Yeah.
that. I could absolutely do that. But in terms of it, the fun stuff we've been going through since the last recording, like I know that I wasn't able to do much because I had to move. So
That's
I
true.
I guess the thumbs down when it comes down to it for some people out there. I did move back in with my mother. I consider it a thumbs up
Oh no.
because I have no problem with my
Oh
mother.
yay.
I have no problem with staying here. I
Well,
think it's
that's good.
great. I think that
She
my
listening in?
I think my little studio here is really cool. I don't know if she's listening. She might be. Maybe she
She might be listening.
subscribed.
I knew it.
Maybe she subscribed to the show.
I got strep throat,
Hi, mom.
and I'm still coughing up some stuff. So if you hear me cough once in a while, that's the reason.
Yes, that's the other thing. Eric decided to get sick, and that messed everything up.
Then I had a car crash yesterday.
Yeah, don't text and drive, people. Just
I didn't do the texting before anyone starts on that.
I didn't even.
That was the other person.
I didn't even think of that because I knew what happened, and I said that, and I was like, oh wait, whoops. No, Eric was not the one doing the texting and driving.
I was signaling to turn, and then all of a sudden, this person who told me to not tell the police that she was on her phone, so the first thing I did is say, hey, she was on her phone. I rat her out, but, my car's not totaled, and that's what matters. Oh, and no one was hurt. But, yeah. If you're going to text and drive, do a better job than she did.
Basically.
That's all I ask.
If you have to text and drive, here's my idea. Don't. There you go. And if you have to be on the phone with someone while driving, put them on speakerphone. It's not difficult. It's not rocket science. It really isn't.
Now, if you got to go on the internet to look up the new gaming news, you got to pass. You can do that. I feel like, I'm always on the gaming forums when I drive.
Perfect.
Because I need the up to the date comment on every news story.
So what happens if there's a Nintendo Direct happening right when you're driving? Do you turn that Nintendo Direct on and put it up on the dashboard while driving?
I've actually been in a similar scenario. Wasn't Nintendo Direct? It was E3, and it was me trying to get to you. But yeah, that's kind of what I did. I never looked at it though. I just had it playing on my phone, and then I listened to the audio. So when they first showed off the Xbox One X box, I didn't get to see how pretty it was. They're just like, look at these graphics, and I was just listening to the audio. So I'm like, wow, it could be anything.
That makes me just a little sad because that old meme, look at them graphics. You can't use it anymore.
How can you not? I hate to break it to you. There's a whole Nintendo platform that everyone is just constantly saying that now.
Well, there was a man of a certain Tron that made that popular.
Who was that?
His name is John, and he's a man of the Tron.
Of the movie?
Sure.
Tron?
Yeah, he's in the movie
Isn't that
Tron.
a Disney movie? Okay.
Yeah.
What happened now?
He says bad things like PewDiePie does.
What'd he say?
What did PewDiePie say?
You're going to have to say it word for word so I understand the context of what you're talking about.
PewDiePie said the Xbox One X is the best console. And that destroyed everybody. So, everybody got upset and was like,
Isn't that why... Isn't that like when JonTron said that Breath of the Wild wasn't very good, and that's why everyone's mad at him?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Okay.
These people are out of control.
Yeah, we got a problem with the Xbox.
Yeah,
it's a dangerous brand.
They're completely out of their minds. Here, we are very subjective, calm, collected people. We can't be, subjected to this madness, guys.
Just keep digging your hole, man. I'm just letting you do it. I know you're going down a comedy routine, but I'm just like, yeah, you just go and dig your grave here, because I'm letting you just keep on digging. And for the record, I'm gonna give a compliment to Microsoft. Okay, I'm gonna find out how great Dead Rising 4 is because it's coming to PS4.
Oh.
So they, you could argue, man, they couldn't even keep that shitty exclusive. But I'm going to argue that now, yeah.
Oh, if anybody shows up in here, they're like, oh, you hate the Xbox One for no reasons, and you're such a hater, and they do something like that, I would just pick up my Halo 5 exclusive Xbox One and show it on here and be like, fuck off.
Why'd you get that?
Because I love Halo.
Didn't you play Halo 4?
Yeah, I could play Halo 4, but I wanted to play Halo 5.
But I love Halo as well, but okay. So I know we have like a topic and like a way of doing the show, but like I just got to say, weren't you like a little bit like, hey, maybe I have loyalty to Bungie and not necessarily to a brand name? Because like I look at new Halo and I'm just like, that's not Halo. They'll never be Halo.
No, you know how I
Like,
love these organic conversations that pop up on here. So, okay. Did you play 4?
yeah, I hated it. It was
I
terrible.
enjoyed 4.
Why?
I enjoyed 4. I liked
What
a
is
lot
it
of
that you liked about 4?
I liked a lot of the different aspects that they introduced, like the visor ability where you could scan. I liked the constantly able to run while doing visor scans. I liked that.
Okay, two
There were
things.
quite a few things I liked.
Okay, well, for both of those, Metroid Prime is a better game, and yeah,
Well, I
here's
can't
my
play
biggest.
Metroid Prime multiplayer. Nintendo won't give that to me.
Why would you want to scan things in a multiplayer mode?
Well, it shows me who is where, and then I'm able to do things like
Or
sneak
you
up.
could just have this thing in the corner that kind of shows you where they are. It's been there since Halo 1, and then you can
I,
kind of see where they're at, and then you
yeah,
can.
I get you, but I like the other way. Now, okay, Halo 5. One of the reasons why I got the Xbox One. It's okay.
Okay.
That's about all I can say, honestly. I know they had that big media hype and everything with Halo 5, and they were trying to have this amazing story arc of is Master Chief a traitor? I just don't care.
Here's my thing. I'm gonna say right off the back. I actually back in the day was a massive Halo fan. It wasn't my favorite series. It never will be, but it was a series that I cared enough to read the books, which to me says I cared enough. So I remember reading Fall of the Reach, which was actually a If you're gonna read one Halo book,
I did read
it's
that
like
book.
it's a damn good book.
Yes, it
It's
was.
like, and it really clues you into the rest of the series. I feel like Halo 1 is this incredibly ambitious title that is like a groundbreaker for what it was. Halo 2 in the same way was that, but for multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
Single player wasn't as good, but the story was bigger and more epic and interesting. And Bungie really kind of let themselves like have full it was them like on overload. It's like, what can we get away with? Halo
Okay.
3 story wise there were some disappointments, but I would say overall it concluded things really well, and the multiplayer was the best it could ever be. In fact, I think that Reach was really made just because of how much more they wanted to do with the multiplayer. I
Yeah,
do think it was a solid single player,
that's what I
but
was going to
that
say. I think Reach was better in terms of multiplayer.
it was, but 3 was the most innovative, I think. Two is the most innovative. I mean, that was Xbox Live, but 3 was them being like, fucking Forge mode. What
Yeah.
games modes could we come
Okay.
up
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Let's-
So 3
with?
is where
Let's
they
make this thing massive.
Yeah.
Like-
So 3 is where they started introducing some really cool stuff. I'm with you there. And then Reach, in my opinion, is where they polished everything and just made it like mwah, wonderful.
They polished it, but I feel like 3 was also the game that was meant to last for years. Like, I look at 3 and I looked at it as a game that's just, we're not thinking about what comes after this. There may not even be another Halo. So we're going to make this multiplayer go on for fucking ever, and we'll find a way to do it.
Okay.
Then they leave, 343 takes hold, brand new studio, and I feel like they didn't understand what made Halo interesting. They didn't get what Master Chief was. They didn't understand the universe. They kept trying to like turn it into a TV series. They really kept trying to make it dramatic, add this extra layer and tension with the creator of the Spartans. But like ultimately, it just felt like an imitator. And I feel like 5 is also an imitator. Halo is dead in my eyes. It's been dead for a long time. And the reason is when you switch developers, sometimes that means you took away the core of what made the thing. And Halo, I think, is gone. Destiny's the closest you're going to get.
With 4, I liked the multiplayer. I liked the multiplayer with 4. The story, when you start going into that and the single player aspect, I didn't like the story. I didn't care for it
Here's
at
another
all.
thing with 4, right? 4 was the third fucking Halo game on that platform. So let me ask you, how much of a jump was it compared to Halo 3? Like, you can argue, like, if Reach polished it, then what did 4 do?
Honestly, took it in a completely different direction. And you could argue whether you loved it or hated it, but it wasn't the same thing anymore.
It wasn't the same thing, but I feel like it was for purposes of casualization.
That could have been
Like,
it too. Well, yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it absolutely could be, because keep in mind, what is the name of Microsoft's voice assistant? Cortana. Of course they
yeah.
wanted to familiarize people with the series, because they wanted to commercialize it even
But
more.
it was already massive. Like, I feel like they gutted what made it
Make it
interesting.
bigger. The problem is, when they
Well,
made it bigger, they hollowed the fucker out and put new stuff in.
like, here's a series that I'm going to bring up in a weirdly positive way, but then it'll become negative the longer I talk.
Sure.
But, like, look at Call of Duty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Call of Duty used to not be a joke. I think we forgot about this time of history.
Yeah.
But Modern Warfare 1 and 2 were fucking landmarks.
Oh, yeah.
Like, not just in terms of sales, people honestly viewed them as, like, these fascinating, wonderful games that had amazing campaigns.
Yeah.
But this multiplayer also lasted in a way that the other games didn't, because they were just trying so hard to do their own thing. After that, they followed a formula, and they kind of feel like copycats. Modern Warfare 3 is nothing, not even like a tenth as good as Modern Warfare 2. And I think everyone kind of agreed at the same time and went, eh. But everyone bought it because they wanted to finish the fight or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, but the multiplayer wasn't as interesting. The single player wasn't as interesting. And now, like, what is that series today?
It's a massive joke.
It's a joke. It sells, but, you know, it sells out of brand recognition.
Well,
which is kind of why I feel like Halo does.
That, and I don't want to pick on Halo the same route that I would Call of Duty, simply because with Call of Duty, there is a brand new one each year, and you ask yourself, well, how is that possible? Because they reuse assets. They recycle assets a lot.
They also have 3 different development teams working.
Yeah. But there are
at the same time. I'm not giving you the pass on this one. I disagree.
I honestly think that they reuse a lot of assets, because if you look at, like, certain things that were in Modern Warfare 2, and then I pick up Ghost for PS4, I'm not really feeling that humongous of a difference.
Okay, to counteract that, even though you can argue lore reasons about how they're technically not, in Halo 4 and 5, yes or no, do you fight the Covenant?
In Halo 4 or 5, no.
Yes, you do. I'm not talking about lore reasons. You fight fucking characters that move and act like grunts in both of those games.
Okay.
I said I am not talking about story implications.
Gotcha.
I am talking about with your hands on that fucking controller.
Mechanics.
Are you fighting the same enemy types?
Yes.
There might be new ones added, but, like, man, doesn't that feel like a little copy and paste in terms of making your games? It can't be fucking hard to come up with an entire, like, system if you're fighting the same enemies.
The big thing that they changed in Halo 4 that didn't really have the same feel as stuff before, but it doesn't stray away from your point that much, is the Knights. So those are some tough fucks to deal with, but then again, they had tough characters before.
A new enemy type does not mean a new game.
Right, I agree.
In my eyes. And now, you can also make the argument, now Destiny looks like it's doing the same thing. And I'm not giving Destiny a pass for it either, but it's also the second game in the series. Like, there are expansions, but it is the second title in a series.
Right.
We're at the 5th fucking game. Halo's old. Halo's been around since 2001.
Right, I didn't really trust Destiny 2 when it came down to that. I sort of expected it, simply because I felt like the first one just went awry, so maybe they wanted to hit the reset button with this one. I don't know how much, because I haven't picked it up yet, and it's going to be a bit, but that's my assumption, that this is kind of a let's try this again but hit it right this time kind of thing.
The reset button.
Ha!
I've heard a lot of good things about Destiny 2. I cannot comment as I haven't played it yet. but everyone keeps telling me it's Destiny 1, but without the bad shit. Which sounds good to me because I actually really like the original Destiny post-taking thing.
Right. I didn't have a problem when I first started playing Destiny either, but what you just said, it's Destiny 1 without the bad stuff. Like I said, they reset it. They're like, let's try this again.
Yeah. I'm agreeing with you. That was me agreeing with you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That pretty much like fuels the fire right there. Here's the same thing, guys, but we didn't mess it up this time.
But it's also the second attempt. I mean, like I haven't played it yet, so blah blah blah. It is the second game in the series that from 3 years ago. So even if it reuses enemies, I mean, first of all, it makes sense in the lore, but it's a second game. You know, it's fucking. It's much more forgivable. Plus, Destiny just has a lot more enemy types than Halo does. Like Halo has 4 different enemy types. From the different types of Covenant. You have elites, grunts, the ones with the swords, and there's one other, and I can't think of it. But, like, you know, Halo has, like, entirely different races with different enemy types within those races.
You mean Destiny, right?
Yeah.
You said Halo. Said. You said, well, but Destiny. Halo, but that's why I was correcting you. But, yeah, I get what you're saying. Now, of course, with Halo 4, they did add in the Knight. I also forgot they had, like, the canine enemy that comes after you now. That one's a bit different. But, yeah, you would expect them to maybe put a lot more out than just that. So I could understand what you're saying.
It makes... Like, I'm not even trying to pick on them. It's I can't imagine what it feels like to be in a studio that was formed entirely for a franchise that you had nothing to do with.
Right.
Like, that's bizarre, man. What is it like to lead Halo today? It's like, you'll always be compared to games that you could never possibly match up to.
Right.
But it's all Microsoft has. I mean, like, there are a couple indie games they have that look interesting. Ori and the Blind Forest is phenomenal, so the sequel to that's coming out. Mm-hmm. I'm throwing a real bone because that's, like, all I can think of. What else is coming out for Xbox? I'm not even joking. I can't think of any.
Oh.
Forza?
Well, another series of theirs that, just came out in the past... no, not in the past 6 months, but in the past year at least, was the new Gears. But even that was taken over by a new studio, so...
Same situation as Halo, right. And I hear it also played at Super Safe.
Right. It feels like Gears of War. It feels more like Gears of War than Halo 4 felt like Halo. If that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, I don't feel like Halo took the departure you're saying it is. So, like, for me, it's just apples and oranges. But everything I see of Gears just looks like more Gears. But Gears is also... Like, let's compare. I'm not a Sony fanboy, but I'd say they're the company I'm most aligned with.
Right.
In general. God of War and Gears of War. Now, they're very different series, but they have the same acronym. But more importantly, they have something very much in common, which is that both series kind of had a game that everyone went, that was kind of like a half spin-off. So, like, you had the main trilogy, and everyone's like, that concluded great. I don't need any more. You left room for a sequel, but I don't need it. But you left me that. And then they both had their spin-off. So Gears of War had Judgment, and then God of War had Ascension.
Oh, God, Judgment. And then God of War Ascension. Ugh.
They're both, like, fucking really mediocre, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're both, like, it's technically AAA, but none of this is interesting to me. It took me years to beat Ascension, and then I finally did, and I went, man, I love God of War. I'm never going to play Ascension again.
Did you ever play Ascension's multiplayer by the chance?
You know what? Never did.
Oh, it was horrendous. Some of the worst.
But, like, here's the thing. I love God of War. Like, God of War is one of my favorite modern-day AAA series. I'm also a massive fan of Greek mythos, so I have, like, a strong attachment to that kind of stuff. But I felt like 3 concluded really well. Like, I had some small little complaints, but none of it like mattered to me. Like it was done. So when Ascension came out, it added nothing to the narrative that made it any more interesting. And as a world, it just kind of felt like, here's an expansion to 3, but made by the B team. And I couldn't tell you why. I couldn't tell you what it was that made that game just so unlikable for me. Because, like, it's not even that it's a new God of War. The PSP one is, like, one of the best in the series. The second one, Ghost of Sparta, is, like, the second best in the series to me. So, and that came out after 3. But Gears of War had a similar situation. Gears of War 3 ends it pretty damn definitively. Everything's resolved. You don't really feel the need for another. They make Judgment. Now, Judgment, right. You play as a side character, same thing. No one buys either of these fucking games. Now, was Judgment good? Yeah. It's just as good as 3, because it's just more of 3.
Really?
But it's not... It's more of 3. It's pretty much the same game, but like no one cares.
The reason why I said that is the general consensus is that game is significantly worse than 3.
It's significantly worse than 3 because it doesn't offer anything that makes it interesting. It's a game that you want to... Like God of War Ascension, you just don't... It's like, yeah, you exist. History will forget this game. So... My point is, in this long drawn-out thing, 4 comes out for both. And I look at Gears of War, and I'm like, man, you guys just did another one. And now you look at God of War, and look how different that looks from the rest of the series. Like, it's still got the core feel of God of War. It's still brutal. It's still got Kratos. You know, it's still got these elements. But it's a different camera angle. It's a different world. It's a different, the relationship with his son. There's so much more going on in that game. Everyone's looking at it and they're like, what the fuck is the new God of War?
Yeah.
Everyone knew what Gears of War was. I didn't have to play it. And I'm like, I know the mechanics of this game. It doesn't help that Gears of War is also like... And I have to thank the original for it, but a cover-based shooter in today's world is pretty uninteresting. It's kind of the most boring form of gameplay because it's everyone stole from Gears of War. Everyone. Fucking Uncharted plays like Gears of War.
Not to mention Last of Us.
Last of Us?
Last of Us absolutely uses the Gears system.
Yep. I think every game in third person has a cover-based shooter mechanic. You know? And like...
My God, I think you're right.
It's not like... I'm not even complaining about it either. It was an advancement. Resident Evil 4 also advanced combat. But when everything copies you, that no longer feels special. So in today's world, what does that play like? It's just another third-person shooter. Maybe with some interesting visuals, but I don't know. Gears of War always just looked brown to me.
I just started thinking more about when you said that, and you're absolutely right. Because I started thinking of more titles that, since Gears of War became a thing, have used that system. Mass Effect Andromeda used that heavily. Mafia 3
Mass Effect
uses that.
1 used it.
Yeah. Well, Andromeda, basically lived and died on it. It got really crazy with that. Then there was Mafia 3. I don't know about the previous Mafia games because I haven't tried them.
Mafia 2 did too. Mafia 1's too old.
Yeah. Lived on it. So, you're right. At that point, if you had a third-person game, it showed up. It's almost like, this is a staple now. That's what you do.
I mean, fuck, if Grand Theft Auto does it, Watch Dogs did it. I'm now looking through the games that I own, and I'm just trying to point out all the games that do it. But a third-person cover mechanic is just expected. That is gaming. Final Fantasy 15 does it, for Christ's sake.
Oh my!
It's that embedded into video games, and it's not a bad thing. But if your game's built on a neat gimmick and the gimmick is stolen, then what do you have?
Not much. Not much.
Yeah. And that's not its fault.
No, it's not.
It means it has to adapt and change.
It's not the series' fault, but we can point the blame at Gears of War 4 because it played it too safe. It didn't try anything.
But you know why that is? It's because it's a new company.
Oh, I know exactly why that is.
This is why I disagree about the Halo thing. I feel like, if anything, people are playing it too safe. Fucking have Halo, and you're like, well, we gotta make another Halo. It's gotta star Master Chief. Heaven forbid we have a new main character. Cortana, gonna be in the plot. Gotta fight the Covenant. I don't care if the Covenant story concluded. We gotta find excuse. It's not really the Covenant, but it's gonna play like the Covenant. That's our excuse.
Yeah, it's
that's what it is to me. You know what Halo is special to me for, and it's something that no one thinks of.
Okay, go for it.
Halo 3, there is a cutscene where the Covenant have joined sides with the humans. You have been fucking fighting these guys since the first fucking game, right? You've been viewing out, like in the first game, you viewed these fuckers as aliens, and they were fun to kill, and that was your extent of the relationship. But when the Flood showed up, you saw a little humanity in them because they were scared. So that was just a little touch of something. Halo 2 had the Arbiter storyline. And now you're looking at the Covenant in a whole new way. They're not just mindless fodder. They live, they die, they're branded. It's a war to them, and they're being manipulated. They are the victims of the war. The Covenant that you are killing are like the aliens you kill in Half-Life. Like, yeah, they attack, but pay attention to environmental cues and you'll realize who the victims are in this story. It is the Covenant. That's why they're called the Covenant, because they're religiously indoctrinated. So Halo 3 comes out, and finally, it takes till the end of the game, but finally, the two stand side by side on the same fucking war because they know who the right enemy is.
Mm-hmm.
It's powerful. It's powerful in a way that, like, I feel like Halo doesn't get credit for, because it was at the time treated as such a bro shooter, but it was moments like that. So I feel like it really fucking cheapens it if you bring back the Covenant. This is why I was also like kind of against Reach as a game. I think it's a good story, and I get why they made it, but it goes back on the humanity of the Covenant, which is what I think was one of the biggest strengths of Halo.
And I also think that you're highlighting, like I was saying, the big issue with the Halo games now is the story just isn't as prominent. It's not as powerful, and I don't know if that's just because they're trying to focus more on the multiplayer aspect. I would pretty much say that's probably the reason, but it doesn't have that same feeling.
It doesn't fucking help that they turned him into a Jesus figure. Master Chief is no longer a man. He's an icon.
Yes.
And they didn't understand the character. And that is what I consider to be one of the biggest problems with Halo.
When he's like a Jesus,
day.
he's like a Superman at that point. That's the kind of the way that they were pushing with Halo 5. It's like a Superman turned on everyone. Is Master Chief
Halo
really gone AWOL?
So, in Doom, I think they handled this brilliantly, because Doom is what they view Master Chief as. Like, the Doom guy, the Doom Slayer in the Doom reboot, is this fucking guy that is biblical, right? Like, he is written to the slates that he's just this fucking guy that showed up and hell is afraid of him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, every single demon in hell is actually really terrified of you, the player. I feel like Halo wants to do that, but in a biblical way, and be like, this guy, Master Chief, John, is this amazing figure. And I feel like that misses the point of Halo. He didn't have a name in the original game because you weren't supposed to view him that highly. He was the final Spartan.
Yeah.
And he happened to make it through. Now, Halo 2, you can bump it up a bit, and he's well respected. But I feel like the biggest mistake they ever made is they turned him into this fucking icon. And when the game acknowledges the character as an icon, they actually stop becoming iconic. That's one of the things that I think kind of fucking makes it lose its luster a bit. Because I'm supposed to think they're cool, not the fucking characters in the game. Like, for example, this isn't what happens, but imagine the opposite of Other M, right? I want you to imagine parallel Other M, where every character's like, Samus Aran, hero of the world, and like, wouldn't that be weird? It's like, what's cool about Samus is that she just happened to be a fucking bounty hunter.
Yeah.
That was just badass enough to take him down.
Yeah, she
But,
didn't really have too much to say. Nobody really, wanted to talk or interact with her.
Oh god.
And what was I trying to say? I almost said Halo Other M. In Metroid
I got
Prime
a
2.
far better comparison.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Damn it, I lost my train of thought. Metroid Prime 2. The only thing that really happened is she met with the alien race on there, and they were like, hey, this really needs to happen. We're in a bind. Here's what needs to happen. And she was like, okay, done. And just did it. And nobody praised it or anything. It just happened.
There's a couple kids in Metroid Prime 3, but it's a handful. But I figured out the real comparison I wanted to make. I figured out the one that works perfectly.
Okay.
Master Chief is Commander Shepard.
Oh my god.
Commander Shepard is this fucking character. And it works in Mass Effect because they really write it in a really intelligent way. Because it's not supposed to really be an avatar. By the time you get to Mass Effect 3, Shepard has a personality and you're along with the ride. Right. You can select some of the choices, but like Shepard is a character. I could describe Shepard to you, as a character. But Shepard is this biblical fucking figure in the story, right?
Right.
But the difference is that Shepard was also shit on for 2 entire games. So when he got to Mass Effect 3, he or she earned that. Because she's like, okay, listen, I know I'm not, and I know you guys don't look at me like that. I had the ranking for a bit, and then you guys just threw me to fucking sharks. But we need unity right now, and I'm going to be the fucker that brings us to do it. That's why Mass Effect was fucking cool. Master Chief is just a guy with a gun. That's his role. He doesn't fucking... He's not communicating or convincing anyone of anything. That's not his job. So I don't understand why they keep holding him up as a symbolic symbol. He's just a guy that's really good at killing shit and has got a good head on his shoulder.
He started as their Doom guy, but then things started going in a really weird direction for him.
The fuck did Mass Effect Andromeda have to suck?
So here's a question for you. Here's an interesting question. So in order to fix something like Gears of War, because we know right now that's just about as interesting as Roadkill, and then Halo also has its issues right now, what needs to be done to fix those? Do they need to just go to the drawing board and do something new?
Well, that's what they should have done, but we're past that point. I think franchises really survive one generation, and then there has to be a waiting period. And I think they fucking made the mistake for both series by keeping it going. I look at one of the best examples I got for this is the Prince of Persia trilogy. Prince of Persia was Xbox original PS2 generation. And the first game was the game of the year that year. Everyone loves it. And two has its mixed reception, but 3 was great. And then it was done. Mm-hmm. They had like a weird reboot the next generation, but no one cared about it. It was done. People viewed Prince of Persia as a thing. It's over. So Assassin's Creed came out. And we're like, okay, this is the spiritual successor to Prince of Persia. This is the next generation. This is you taking what you did earlier and making it bigger and better. That's great. And so I really believe that what we should do, if we're going to be fucking smart with our franchises, is keep them really within one generation. And then at least let them breathe until we miss them. And then you bring it back. And so, I feel like God of War's had enough time. Because 3 was one of the earlier games of the PS3 generation. It was at least the halfway point, and we're a little over the halfway point for the PS4. So I feel like it's just the right time for a new God of War to come out. Mm-hmm. If you're going to do it. But if it was 2 years ago, I would have told you, fuck no. I'm not ready for another God of War. We just had 3 in Ascension, which was Now, Gears of War had the time. Really bad. Ascension was bad. Gears of War had the time. They didn't really capitalize on it. It didn't feel like it because we knew it was coming right away. They fucking said it's in the works. Gears of War ain't ever ending. We're gonna have it forever. So, but that's just me. And also the problem is there can't capitalize on franchises if you don't continue them. But money makes the world go round.
It certainly does, but I think that probably would be the best thing to do is just give the series a little break because Nintendo does that with a lot of their stuff. It's just they don't do it with Mario, like, ever.
Metroid. What?
Yeah.
Metroid.
Yeah.
So Metroid's taking a break, or took a break.
And now it's coming back.
Yeah, where's Mother 3, Reggie?
Well, I don't see that happening, but yeah, right now Metroid is all the rage. And I think basically because of what you were saying, it took a break. Other M killed it. Other M murdered Metroid.
It did.
And then I still can't believe what you figured out.
It was in front of us the whole... Okay, so Other M. It took all these years. Okay, so this might be old news for a lot of people, but the title, Other M, I never understood the name before, and I've been thinking about what that meant. And someone fucking made the really stupid comment. I wish I could take credit for this. Eric, you put the M before Other. It's Mother.
Yeah, Other M is an anagram for Mother.
And makes sense because Mother Brain is a part of the plot. The woman she talks to is, has got a mother complex. You got a mother complex because Samus Aran keeps talking about the baby. Yeah. The whole fucking game's about the baby. The whole game's about motherhood. Yeah. God, could that game be more sexist?
Operation Babies Cry.
Oh yeah. I think the ship's like the bottle ship or something.
It was? Oh my god.
I think so. Don't quote me, but I feel like that's right.
Oh, if that's true, they just hammed it up even more.
Tangent, man, Metroid needed to die for a while. And I hope that isn't canon anymore. Because here's the thing. There's always things you can say ruin my childhood, but Other M is the alien covenant of the Metroid series.
Damn.
Like, it actively ruins not only the character and the story, but, like, if that piece is canon, then I don't want anything to do with the franchise. That's how strong of a bad impression. And, I mean, that's ignoring how fun the fucking game was. Like, we played a tiny bit of it.
Oh, yeah.
And, man, that's gameplay.
Man, I couldn't put the controller down because I was too busy going, why? That's how fun it was. Why is this game so fun? That's what I kept asking.
Controversial statement. I think Federation Force is an okay game, and I think everyone would have been okay with it if it was announced after these other two Metroid games. That's my hot take.
You're probably right.
If everyone knew that Metroid was in safe hands, no one would have been upset by Federation Force. And it turns out, I played a little bit of it at a friend's place. It's not a bad game.
There you go.
It's not a great game. It's a co-op game. It's not Metroid in any way.
Even though it's called Metroid? Nice.
I mean, mechanically, it's not. From a world, as a brand, I don't know. If Hyrule Warriors are not Hyrule Warriors. What's the Triforce Heroes? Is it?
Triforce
that co-op Zelda thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if that's a Zelda game, then Federation Force can be a Metroid game.
Triforce.
I feel like
not just that. Almost said Triforce Heroes. Hyrule Warriors. They consider that a Zelda game too.
That's not. Yeah, but that's the Warriors takes precedent over. Okay. I mean, that's also going to be a Fire Emblem game.
Fair enough.
People have learned to accept what Warriors means. Which is fine. It's just a theme. Nice themes. Yeah.
That's the big thing that's going on right now. To hammer home Eric's point, for a long time, Metroid was dead in the water because of Other M, or Metroid Mother, is what it should have been called. And now it's back. There's going to be the Metroid 2 remake is, if it's not out yet, it should be out within the next few days, right?
It comes out the 15th.
There we go. Next few days. And then in the future, we'll be getting Prime 4. So, woo!
How do you think Prime 4 is going to control? I have been like wondering in my head.
I think, well, you can't really do the motion thing anymore. It's probably going to be like the GameCube version, yes, yet less bad. I guess is the way I'd say it.
Here's my theory. I got hot take theories.
Hot take.
I think they're going to use the gyroscope. I think that's going to be the trick.
Ooh.
They're going to use the gyroscope as their way of aiming. Kind of like Splatoon style.
I'm not against that at all.
So I think that is the trick, because it would work handheld. You don't need a point. We don't have a pointer on a Switch. So I think that's going to be how they handle it. But I don't know.
That'd be pretty good.
That's my game theory. I'm Matt Pat.
That's a theory. A game theory.
Yeah, did you know that Nintendo's going to turn the Switch into a VR machine? It's going to take over the world. I'm Matt Pat.
He didn't suggest that, did he?
He did.
Oh my god. No.
He said you're going to put it on your face, and then the thing at the bottom of the controller is a super and crazy camera that can see the world so you don't step on things as you walk in VR or whatever.
Yeah, no. That's not going to happen. That's not happening at all.
Nintendo's planning world domination.
Wonderful.
But I don't know. It always goes back to Nintendo.
We're going to go ahead and wrap it up here because we are approaching the hour mark. The topic we were going to talk about never happened at all, so I guess we'll save that for next week.
Yeah. You'll never know.
You'll never know until next week.
What our plans were. Yeah.
But I think it's always better when we have an organic conversation versus something pre-planned.
Yeah, you don't want GMOs in our conversation.
Yeah.
You know, we want it gluten-free.
We are not the Monsanto
organic
of podcasts.
Oh, wow. We're closer to Sabra, classic hummus.
Damn right.
Which includes cooked chickpeas.
You can be the chickpeas.
Okay. Keep refrigerated. Anyway, thank you for listening.
All right, guys. So that, again, has been this week's episode of The Reset Button for, again, September 13th, 2017. If you want to say happy birthday to Eric, it's right there on the screen at MonkeyDTT, or you could just, tweet him if you're listening to this later at MonkeyDTT and tell him, hey, happy birthday.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Later.